Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me? Yes or no? Yes or so? Can you guys hear me? Type yes in the chat if you could hear me. Perfecto, perfecto. Hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. I just hit that like button for you as well. Hope everyone is having a good week. This ain't my first rodeo, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, Bitcoin is at $105,000. Well, butter my biscuit, ladies and gentlemen. Well, butter my biscuit. Someone let me know when we do hit that 50 likes. Ooh, we're at 40. Someone let me know when we do. We're at 40. Got me some agua. Some water. How's everyone doing? Oh, okay. I guess we'll just start it right now. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live stream. It's been a hot minute. Hope everyone is doing good. Got a lot of things to cover. We're going to start off on the macro, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live stream. First of all, thank you very much. If you guys haven't already, we are like 50 subscribers away from hitting 10,000. I mean, this was just starting as a side project, and look at it now. We're at 10,000. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. Is it because of my analysis or is it because of my Texan accent? Make sure to hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. We're going to get started right now. We're going to go over the macro structure first on Bitcoin, and then we'll go over the medium time frames and then see where we're currently standing at. Bitcoin is right now trading around $104,000 to $105,000. It's bounced perfectly in that area that we were expecting for a bounce. We hit that minimum zone that we were looking for, and now we're looking for a possible fifth wave to the upside. So what does that mean? That means that Bitcoin is possibly working in the final last bullish leg, whether it is up to 130, 150, it really doesn't matter. This fifth wave could end anywhere up in this region here, but the first major resistance is going to be at this major median zone right here at the middle line of this channel. Right now, what we can be expecting in terms of how this is going to be playing out, we're going to be looking for this fifth wave of the intermediate degree to work for this final fifth wave here. If you guys have been following me for the past few months, you guys know that I have been trying to decipher how this leg was being created as an accumulation zone, and you guys all know how I trade. I'm all about accumulations. I'm all about these beginning structures of how a larger fifth wave, especially after a larger fourth wave has played out. That is what we're looking for at this current stage, and we're now trying to figure out the final conclusion of how this larger fourth degree has completed, and I am very confident that we have completed it. Now we're working for the fifth wave to the upside, and how far this fifth wave will play out. We're going to be basically doing a minuscule kind of analysis going forward on the smallest degree of this minor degree of a 5-wave move to the upside, just like how we've been trying to figure out how this was playing out. So what does this mean? It means that we are very close to the end of a bull market. We've been talking about how this was a larger 1-2 sideways structure. This was a wave 3. And for the longest time, I remember during this period of time where we were trading sideways back and forth, that this was definitely characteristic of a wave 4. Now, after that, we were looking for the accumulation of how these 1-2 structures were being built up. So now we have a pretty strong contender on this being the wave 4 being complete, just due to the fact that we broke this level here. So how does this fit onto the overall larger macro structure? Now, this is just the basic Elliott wave structure that we're looking for, right, ladies and gentlemen? The basic Elliott wave structure is that we're looking for how this larger wave 5 is going to fit into even a larger structure, whether it's going to be part of a wave 3 or a wave 5 or a wave 1. And in my opinion, this is leading us into what could be the possible larger degree, wave 1 of a higher degree, okay? So that is how I'm currently seeing it for the current structure. Now, yeah, let's zoom out actually. So I think I have a chart somewhere for a very strong larger macro structure. If we pull up the weekly charts, let's see how this is working. Yeah, let's actually zoom out a little bit by little bit, okay? So right now, what we're working in right now, as you can see here, is after we had that bear market of 2022 over here, this is where we're currently standing. That's why we're looking for a larger pullback of this intermediate degree, as you can see here. As you start to zoom out, the picture becomes a little bit clearer. And if we're taking into consideration of all the fractals, I mean, there's going to be no perfect structure for how this macro structure is playing out. Right now, it's just based on the simple 5s and 3s, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Bitcoin has been working arguably in a strong fractal nature since the past decade, and that's the only data that we can be interpreting it from. That's the only way. And with each new halving cycle, basically we have new kind of ways to interpret how the market functions, but in the end, it all boils down to cycles. And right now, this 5-wave move cycle for this bull market, if you really think about it, we're ahead of schedule for this bull market. And I think that we will also be right on target in terms of the schedule, in terms of how this pullback is going to be playing out. I think that we're ready for a pullback eventually or very soon. And again, soon is relative because we can, pump another 100%, 50%, really doesn't matter. All it is boiling down to is how are we going to find the signs that this 5th wave is going to be ending? And that is kind of the ultimate goal that we have been trying to figure out for the past few months. So with that being said, again, this cycle here basically kind of intertwining both previously and after post-halving. As you can see, we had that bear market, very peculiar wave 1-2 as a WXYZ. I mean, we can really even say that this was a wave 3-4, but bear with me. I'm going to go over the macro time frame why I think this is a 1-2. And again, this is still, no matter what, even if you're seeing this as a 3-4, as an expand flat, you're still looking for some kind of termination point here, no matter what. Even if you're seeing it as a 5th wave, it's still going to be a part of a larger degree. So this 1-2 is going to be offhand, basically. Is a lot of people are going to be confused. Same thing that happened over here. This is basically kind of the repeat of what we're seeing here. It's just in a more structuralized 5-wave move to the upside. It's a little bit more beautiful, in my opinion, in terms of this cycle. It's played out quite nicely. Now, if we zoom out even further, as you can see here, this is the only way I would personally count it. And that takes into consideration not only for the fundamental analysis, but it takes into consideration of the halving cycles, the scheduling of it, and what kind of observations we made from the 5s and 3s of the Elliott wave cycles. So back here, first halving, going into the second halving, we had a clear 5-wave structure up into a wave 1. 3-way pullback, another 5-way move into the first cycle degree, another 3-way pullback. This is where arguably a lot of people are in this current cycle right now. A lot of people have experienced. And then another 5-wave move. That's why I don't see this as an expanded flat going into a wave 1. It just extends the cycle a little bit too long. So it's no problem. All we have to do is just put this as a 5-wave move going into the primary degree of a wave 1. 3-wave pullback in a triple zigzag formation. Another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where we're currently at. Remember, we were just zoomed out from this level over here, and now we're working for that intermediate degree. And ladies and gentlemen, we're pretty close to that level where you see that box right now. We're entering that box right now, actually, and I think we will get that larger 1-2 pullback of the intermediate degree. Now, if you're zoomed out and you follow the scheduling of how this is playing out, this, in my opinion, it has the highest probability, even though we all hate the series of 1-2s. Bitcoin can set the framework for the Elliott wave structure of creating a lot of 1-2s on the macro structure. Now, there isn't any observed 1-2s on larger structure time frames, more notably for the S&P 500. We haven't seen these 1-2s. It's just been a consistent, continued cycle degree, and we could just build upon the infinite build upon of these 5s and 3s within a larger structure. But here with Bitcoin, it is pretty distinct, taking into consideration with all the fundamental FUD that happened along the way. Whatever happens, this next projected intermediate degree, I don't know what kind of news is going to be projected. But again, I'm boiling it down to it doesn't matter what the fundamental news is going to be giving us. It's going to happen no matter what. Whatever happens in terms of the news, it usually happens during the bear market rather than triggering the bear market. So you have to know the difference. All of these here are basically what was the continuation of the bear market. It wasn't a trigger for the bear market. So there's a big difference. That's why we have to be one step ahead of the markets using the Elliott wave theory, that once this fifth wave starts to, once we find all the clues, which we will, where we will find a clear 5-wave move, and I'm already finding the clear clues of the fifth wave already happening as we speak. And however it ends, it will happen before any FUD happens. It will happen before anyone starts to think that the bear market will happen, and it will happen at the midst of a very, very bullish euphoric phase. And I think that euphoric phase is right around the corner, in my opinion, now that we are ready to break the all-time high once again. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think we will see that 1-2 pullback eventually happening, no matter what. It doesn't matter what the news is, doesn't matter what we think, it's just going to happen. It's just based on cycle theory. So that is the way on how we have to interpret it, the larger macro structure. Is everyone taking, I hope everyone is trying to understand what I'm talking about. It's very, very difficult in terms of how we can do it, but this is the only way I can currently see the current structure for how we can be building this larger structure. Now, I do have another structure that I believe no one else is seeing that does take into consideration of market maturity and also to remove the subjectivity of these 1-2 structures, okay? So this is more for the advanced Elliott wave practitioners, but it does take into consideration that we are now concluding for a larger wave 1, and the bull market will happen even worse. It'll be far worse than that 1-2 structure. So if that's the case, how do we kind of create a different way where the market maturity, the curve ends, this whole curve here doesn't just continue up, and we just get a breakage of that curve and we go for a larger bearish structure? This is absolutely possible. I have a plethora of evidence on why we could be seeing a larger 1-2 pullback. Number one is that most institutions, all the way starting back in 2020, 2019, 2018, when institutions were actually building up, a lot of people believe the institutions were building up over here. Trust me, they're late in the game, in my opinion, according to this chart. Every institution, or the smart institutions that got into Bitcoin early, such as Michael Saylor, that's why all these people are playing a different game. Michael Saylor doesn't talk about different companies. He talks about them adding it to the balance sheet, but it doesn't talk about specific companies. But he does highly praise the companies that got into Bitcoin early, because those are the people that will be reaping the rewards the most. And this count will take that into consideration. So how do we do that? Well, we have this 2018 bear market into consideration, because this is where a lot of the people of previous cycles are taking profits, in my opinion. Same people over here. This takes into account for 2 cycles each for people who are positioned, the smart traders that is. The people already positioned here possibly most likely have already taken profits over here. Of course, there's some residual individual market participants who are still holding their Bitcoin all the way from these levels over here. But trust me, most of the people that are positioned are over here and DCAing their positions over here with each consecutive market. And let me tell you, I can say with pretty much high guarantee that they're ready to take profits around these levels over here because they know for a fact without telling you and telling me is that they're going to be seeing a large pullback. Why? Because a lot of people are going to be taking profits no matter what. It doesn't matter. These people will not tell you if they're taking profits. I'm telling you, they'll take profits against your will, and we will see that happening on this overall count. So how does this count work? So if we're going to take the idea of this whole move here just being built up as a 5-wave structure, this has to end as a diagonal in my opinion. Why? Because this move here, this move here, this move here, this move here, this was the entirety of the whole market in my opinion. This move here is just cleaning up the mess. We're creating a series of threes now, which means corrective structures, but on the smaller time frames, it just seems like it's a continuation of the same whole fractal that we have been discussing here. Overall, I still think that this is the best idea just based on the fractals, but if we're really, really going to put on our tinfoil hat and say that this is the end of an entire season or overall bear market that's going to be happening, I think this is the case that is the best way to kind of observe. Why? Because this here was the entirety of the move, this wave 1 up to this wave 3. Now this wave 4, taking into consideration of the COVID crash, this here was a range in itself, okay? That was a range in itself, and this move up was a 3-wave structure that was met with an abrupt bear market as another corrective structure. That led us into the second subwave of this possible diagonal. So why are we putting a diagonal into this scenario? Hold up, guys. I just got it. 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, my wife was just asking me what I'm doing. It's 2 a.m. here. Anyways, this move here can be seen as an entire 3-wave move as well up into this subwave 3. Now, it's yet to be observed, but if we do get a rejection around these levels, trust me, there is a way we can count this as a 3-wave structure. And then we will have that bear market, same exact pullback that we're looking for at the intermediate degree that we discussed for this halving. As you can see here, it overlaps perfectly, right? And if we get rejected again, and then we get supported again, that will create the boundaries of how this works. Now, the psychology of the diagonal, remember, it represents the specific pattern within a psychological backdrop tied to the market behavior and the sentiment, all right? So this ending diagonal basically has to start converging. The only way we're going to confirm this is still a thesis, in my opinion, is that we're going to find the desperation and the exhaustion that's happening. And we can see that in the RSI. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of bearish divergences happening within this current structure. So that's why if we're seeing these divergences happening on the weekly, although it is a little bit weak in terms of the argument, it can happen because exhaustion is the main thing that you want to be looking for in a diagonal, all right? It's going to be found in the 5th wave of this impulse of the C wave, and it's going to be a corrective move to the upside with overlapping waves, all right? So what will happen is the prevailing trend will start to lose the momentum as all of you people, including me, will become increasingly cautious as the price goes up. And then the desperation will come in. Latecomers will come into the trend with FOMO happening, and it'll push the price higher and not lower, but their efforts are weaker. So what will happen, that's why we see those diagonal overlaps within the actual diagonal. This is how we're seeing that exhaustion and the FOMO coming into play, and also that desperation. Then we will see that inevitable reversal based on the theory that when the divergences start to appear, which we are already observing, which will signal the major trend reversal, and it will be unsustainable for this move to continue to the upside. That's when smart money will begin to prepare for that reversal. And that's why I'm saying all of the smart money over here is already within their positions. They don't care about you. They don't care about anyone else. They don't care about any other institution. They only care about their own positions right now. Then the compressed energy will happen. It'll indicate that the market is coiling up. Boom, come down, breakout of this diagonal or reversal. Then the diagonal completes, and then we'll see how the volume reacts. And then boom, it'll be very deep for this wave A. That initial wave A can lead us all the way down just based on the diagonal psychology, should retrace most of the actual diagonal of itself. That will lead us down to $30,000 to $20,000. Get that bear market rally for another 2 years. This will be an absolute savage bear market, meaning that the first initial move will be savage enough, but this here will be that true, that Wall Street cheat sheet that you guys are all familiar with, the actual sucker rally. This will be the ultimate sucker rally. If this happens, this will be a 2 to 3 year sucker rally, and it won't even go up as far as it really needs to, $80,000 to $70,000, and it'll be a part 2 for that C wave. That's how we're going to be seeing it. That should lead us all the way down to $6,000, possibly even $10,000 per Bitcoin, and that will be the end of the wave 2, and we are just in the beginning works of a cycle 1, 2. So this is based on the market psychology and also the market maturity theory that I'm kind of building up a thesis on, and it's also very tied very well into how this Elliott wave structure is also playing out. If we're finding, again, we are already seeing the part of the diagonals being played out in terms of the divergences. As long as we get that confirmed rejection, and we're getting that rejection no matter what, in my opinion, because based on the halving idea, we're still going to get that pullback no matter what, right? So after that happens, I'm going to come back to this idea, and if we get supported around the $58,000 level and we find some distribution level, then we can finally connect this final bottom of this trend line for this wave 4, and if it does start to create a converging trend line, then I'm going to expect one more move to the upside, and this will be that ultimate desperation, and it will be a back and forth between the smart traders and the dumb traders taking profits accordingly, all these distribution patterns being created within these zones over here on these wave 3s. Then we will see the ultimate shakedown happening, and I think that this could be a very plausible scenario in my opinion. So hopefully that was a good way we can look at the overall structure. Remember, wave 4 terminated here as a triangle, and this here is now deemed as a 3-wave going into that first wave. So this is the alternative approach to the overall cycle, all right? Overall cycle as in the market psychology approach on how we're seeing the way that we can remove the subjectivity of creating a series of 1-2s and also breaking the overall structure of this curve theory. Now, a lot of people are still going to be working with this curve theory, and I am still on that boat, but once we go back for that wave 2 pullback, that should be the bear market of the intermediate degree, then I will start taking into consideration for this idea. This is starting to come to fruition quite nicely, actually. And if we do get a pullback now, and then we go for another 3-wave move to the downside and another C wave to the upside, this could be the A wave in itself. This could be the B. This could be the C. So we have a lot of potential routes here, ladies and gentlemen. If we actually create a short wave 5 on that shorter time frame, and we just do a 3-wave pullback, and we come back down, and this is the distribution that we're going to be saved at, it's going to change the entire structure of how we have been looking at it for the past few months. This whole move here, in my opinion, I don't think that the wave 5 will end. Actually, it can, but see, there's a problem here. This is just how this wave 5 is going to end and how it's going to be working as either a wave 1 or a wave A. So you can see there's so much subjectivity being built up here, even on my side. And that's why I think that we have to really just boil it down to what probability is going to be the highest probability. In my opinion, it's going to be a shakeout no matter what. I think we will see a 3-way pullback. That's the main conclusion of how we're going to look at it. Because based on the diagonal thesis, this pullback is also in store for us for the halving thesis as well. So this is just a more organized way we can look at it because we do have all of the fundamental news taken into consideration for the pullbacks during the bear markets. We are taking into consideration for the percentage pullbacks, and same idea here. what's going to happen in the next intermediate degree pull down. What is going to be the main narrative for this pullback? That is the question. How is Trump going to be taken into consideration for this narrative pullback? What will institutions do? What will Elon Musk do? What kind of crypto regulatory framework are we going to see? Are we going to see XRP rise? Are we going to see a lot of altcoins rise against Bitcoin? It may be a part two of what we saw in 2018, where altcoins were trying to make their way and pave their way to beat Bitcoin's market cap. You don't know. You never know. And that's why this overall cycle theory is going to work no matter what, without any bias. This is the whole important thing. No bias attached here. We're going to look for a three-way pullback. All right. So hopefully that was helpful in the macro structure. Now we can zoom in into the medium time frames and talk about how the overall structure is being created now. So we've been calling for this WXY to complete here as a three-wave structure that has completed entirely. Now, we've been talking about it for quite some time. We were looking for breakage of structure, and that's what we got. It didn't necessarily hit the 100% level, but it did end between the 61.8% and the 100% zone, and that, to me, is enough. The 61.8% when we were trading around here and we made that bounce here, it wasn't enough for me at that time, even though we were trading between it. Why? Because we didn't break the previous termination point. And now that we broke that termination point, it's all fair and game now. We're in a valid structure for a potential bottom. That's why it doesn't have to reach 100% level to create that perfect symmetry that we've been looking for. All we're looking for is the first signs of a wave 1 to the upside and a wave 2 pullback, however it's going to be created. Boom, we're looking for a wave 3 to the upside. It seems like right now. There's no other way I can see it right now. For now, this seems like a 5-wave structure going into a wave 1, and I feel like we have this wave 2 completed now. Hit that minimum to retracement zone of that 23.6 in between the 38.2%, and it just seems impulsive here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, originally I could have just said that this was a flat structure being in the making here, but, didn't happen. So we're looking for what could be a potential 3-way. This is going to be violent, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be very, very volatile going back and forth. So let's just talk about why I saw this as the conclusion here. Because if we look at the original ABC structure, if we saw this originally as an ABC, where this was the ABC, this was absolutely a possibility. Now, I've even mentioned that this was the most highest probability, but it just didn't feel like that this distribution was a wave 1-2. It just didn't have the right feeling to me. This move here, it definitely felt like a wave 3 was in the making, but with all of this distribution in mind, I feel like this was just a front run. It was just grabbing everyone, and I think that's why we had to kind of restructure this whole move as a WXY, and it just fitted better as an ABC structure, just all due to the idea of distribution. But yeah, you can see it. This ABC also didn't hit the perfect symmetry zone as well. It didn't even hit the minimum target of the 61.8% that I was looking for. But what mattered was that we broke this termination point. We hit in between the 61.8 and the 100% of the larger WXY, and that enough was creating for how this larger wave 4 is in the making. So if we look at this structure here, based on the channeling technique, you can see this wave 4 bounced right perfectly on this level over here, and that's exactly what a lot of Elliotticians are also possibly looking at. So yeah, this right now, ladies and gentlemen, seems like a completed 3-4, and I feel like we're working for a 5th wave. I think that we're going to end somewhere around the upper boundary of this triangle, give or take, with the margin of error, whether it overshoots or not. I think that this is going to be the end of the bull market, and we're going to go for a larger pullback. So use this to your advantage. This will be a huge, fantastic last 5th wave. And whether this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into the first wave 1, 2, then a 3, 4, 5, that can be the argument against possibly building a 5th wave to the upside, or whether this 1, 2 is now working for an extended wave 3. This would be extremely bullish, break above this previous all-time high range, and then this 5th wave is going to be pretty fast. So, yeah, let's go over the questions. We went over the macro, we went over the shorter time frames, we went over the medium time frames. Let's see what we can talk about now. Let me see what people are talking about. Monday will retest the REM. That's not interesting. I think that the scenario will make the Bitcoin maxis cry and end his life. Can you share the lower time frames? Okay, this is a good question. How do you determine reversals using the RSI? So usually you'll see reversals happening within the fifth and third wave. So if you're in a fifth wave structure, usually you'll see a divergence happening over here on a bullish structure, that is, and it'll be vice versa for a bearish structure. Within a wave 3 and a wave 5, you'll see a divergence usually forming, and also most notably within C waves, this fifth wave over here, you'll start to see divergences happening here. And then if you're able to not identify divergences, is it part of a different corrective structure for WXY, and you can't find any divergences, and you're still kind of biased towards a possible completed structure of a WXY, that will be most likely the case, and that's exactly what we got. We didn't find any divergence being created here, first of all, but we also didn't find a 5-wave move to the downside of a wave C where we could have been creating a divergence. So that made me believe that we were working in a WXY. We didn't have any divergence here, and this was just the end of the correction, in my opinion. We were also at the lower boundary of this channel as well. What else? What if the ABCD expanding triangle is valid? To me, I don't like using expanding triangles in any of my analysis. I know you're probably thinking that this may be an expanded triangle. I'm not seeing that as whatsoever. No, I don't think we're going to go back to 60K right now, and not until we actually reach $100 plus $1,000. How is your take about F being so lagged behind BTC? So that's a good question. So the timing of the markets, ladies and gentlemen, is where people struggle the most, all right? It's where people struggle the absolute most. And as you can see, everything aligns like the stars eventually. So right now, Ethereum is in a larger wave 4, in my opinion, for a possible triangle completion here. Whether it's completed or not, it really doesn't matter because we do have a lot of leeway for making sure that this triangle stays intact. But as you can see, if Bitcoin is now starting to work for that fifth wave, it's aligning perfectly with how Ethereum is also working for the fifth wave to the upside. Now, what about other coins? XRP, same thing. It's working a little bit earlier, but it's still working within a possible wave 5 of the completion of a wave 1 of some sort, or some kind of larger extended wave 5 to the upside to possibly $7 to $10. But most importantly, Ethereum is now aligning with Bitcoin. That's the most important thing. So if we go back to my let's pull up that Bitcoin dominance chart that I always the flow chart that I always mention. This is very, very important in my opinion. So if we look at this, all you have to do is understand the Bitcoin dominance. If it's decreasing and Bitcoin's price as the control factor, if it's increasing, it's going to decrease for alts and vice versa for everything else. But right now, Bitcoin in the fifth wave, we're going to expect the dominance in the beginning accumulation phase to go back and forth between the increase of the stable phase while altcoins are accumulating. This is exactly what we're kind of observing right now for the past few weeks or past few months. It was increasing in the dominance, right? But Bitcoin was stable rather, right? And that's why we saw a lot of altcoins increase, or at least increase and find some kind of accumulation phase. And as Bitcoin dominance decreased and Bitcoin started to increase, we saw a massive alt season happening. And that's why we saw this go back and forth quite a bit. And then eventually, right now, what we're possibly going to be seeing now is this phase over here going back and forth between here, whereas the dominance will decrease and Bitcoin dominance, or Bitcoin's price, will also decrease. We'll see the stability within altcoins. We're going to see back and forth between a massive alt season and a stable altcoin season. And then as Bitcoin does trade within a wave 2 or a wave 4, we're going to still see some alt seasons happening within smaller caps, mid caps as well. So that's why we're seeing this happening right now. That's why we're observing that this here, if this is aligning with Bitcoin's last final fifth wave, and also we're observing a possible fourth wave concluding for Ethereum, we're also going to assume, let's pull up the dominance chart, that either this is going to range, go back and forth, and then eventually we're going to see that larger sell-off happening as well. That's why we're also assuming we also saw a clear 5-way move to the upside for Bitcoin dominance, and we have that first initial move that we saw for the dominance. So that's why this, as you can see here, it was decreasing. Bitcoin was also increasing. So we saw a huge alt season, a lot of altcoins as well. So for this altcoin season, in my opinion, since the market is so saturated within the cycle, I hate to say it, but not all altcoins are going to go up. And that's why I've been saying over and over, you guys should have gotten into XRP and Litecoin and all these other coins. There's still a chance for Litecoin, in my opinion. And the reason why I say this is because you got to find even more evidence against the market, because every altcoin is going to go up no matter what. It's about picking which altcoin will go up the most. And right now, XRP is showing that specific observation. And the reason why I chose XRP was because of its long-term accumulation of around 7 years or so. That's exactly what we're looking for, and that's why we got 1,000% move, right? So Litecoin, in my opinion, it's already moving up, is also observing that same exact idea or pattern. And this is pretty much what I believe is going to be the next XRP, in my opinion, based on this $2,500 day accumulation. There's just too many coins, ladies and gentlemen. We can sit here all day and analyze every coin. It can have the perfect Elliott wave structure. But for my priority, the Elliott wave structure is possibly going to be the second or maybe the third or fourth priority. I always look for accumulation. The second thing is, are we creating higher lows? Yes, we created higher lows, just like for XRP. Since 2018, it's been creating higher lows. Same with Litecoin. What is the Elliott wave structure now? Does it work on top of what the market observations are? If so, then you have a very high probability of a possible larger breakout. That is what we're seeing here for Litecoin, and that's what we observed for XRP as well, right? We've seen a larger accumulation. That means that the markets want this coin, right? With each anticipated pullback, we create a higher low. Boom. Contracting triangle is the only applicable pattern, and it's still within a wave B or a wave 4. What more do you need? Is it what? You're going to hate it because it's a stable coin? Ladies and gentlemen, XRP, all the haters are now in disbelief right now. They're just absolutely shocked because this entire move of 8 years has been done in just 2 months. And everyone missed out on that. That's the reality of these accumulation phases. The breakouts are so violent and it just happens so quickly within the crypto markets. You miss out on such a big move, right? And this move here already, approaching 1,000% just from these levels. But look at this level over here. It's 1,000%. You could have just been accumulating it with each dip. That's the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen. And even on the shorter time frames, higher lows being created. It wasn't a major breakage of creating lower lows. That's the most important thing. And 8 years, just based on that alone, you didn't even need the Elliott wave structure to confirm it. The Elliott wave structure just confirms the observations made within this actual market observations. I think that's where a lot of Elliotticians fail or kind of fall back, because a lot of people try to apply or at least think as an Elliottician, think that the general markets see how us as Elliotticians look at it. It's absolutely the opposite. We as Elliotticians have to observe what the markets are observing. That's a big difference that you guys have to understand. We have to start from a clean slate. We have to understand what the fundamentals are, what people are seeing in the current markets. That's why simple technical analysis is actually very important. It's very, very important. And that's why I prioritize Elliott wave theory as my third or fourth priority when it comes to finding the right coin. And right now, we picked the best coin in my opinion, and I still think that everyone is still going to be flocking into XRP. That's what we have to do as an Elliottician. Don't make that mistake that just because a structure is valid or has a good look, that the people will also see it. And that's also another bad thing that a lot of people I'm observing within the markets, for example, on Bitcoin. For some reason, a lot of people are talking about a possible triangle here. I don't know why, but why would you see a triangle? Why would you see this level as a termination point? I don't understand. This was a termination point, ladies and gentlemen. The general markets are seeing this level as a termination point. All right. Not here. I don't like a lot of people are applying WXY here and saying that this was a triangle. I don't know why. It's so strange. And they're saying that this is the beginning of the trend. It's valid from an Elliott wave structure perspective because the 5-wave structure, basic 5-wave Elliott structure to the upside is going to be more or less the same no matter what. But you get a better picture of the general markets and how they're behaving if you're finding the overall termination points and you're able to find a overall good structure as an ABC or a WXY. And we have a pretty darn good ABC structure, but I'm not sure why people are putting a, obscured just because it's valid at these levels over here. No one is seeing this as a possible termination, let alone are they seeing this as a possible triangle. Absolutely, in my opinion, you have to reassess. That's why I'm also a critic of the Elliott wave theory myself as well. So yeah, that's currently how we're seeing it, ladies and gentlemen. And also how you should be applying the Elliott wave theory. Dang, there's a lot of you guys went on a lot, huh? How long do I think the pullback will happen in the bear market? It should be a multi-year bear market, at least a year, a multi-year bear market, in my opinion, is going to happen. I don't care what you guys think. We're going to get a bear market, in my opinion. I don't care what you all think, man. And it's worked out quite nicely for me. And I'm telling you right now, I work alone. I don't collaborate with anyone. I don't talk to anyone. I may share some ideas back and forth here with some people, but I don't look at other people's Elliott wave counts. I don't do any of that. I just follow what the markets are trading, basically. I mean, that's just me. I just follow what the markets are seeing, and then I apply the wave theory on top of that. I think that's the best way you should be approaching the market as yourself as well. Are there dangers of Ethereum not performing? Absolutely. There's going to be dangers in the altcoin markets. We may not even see Ethereum reaching 5 digits. That's why you have to be very careful for this last final wave, because this last move here is going to be telling, basically, of everything. Gave my view on the altcoins. Can you talk about the current wave on the current XRP rally? What do you make of the current structure? Yeah, I mean, since most of the move had already happened, right? Like I said, there's only 2 ways that I can see XRP happening. It's basically boiled down to this here, which is this is the 5 wave in itself, and this 5th wave is now coming to a conclusion of some sort. I don't know how it's going to happen. We'll see. We'll get a 5 wave structure, in my opinion, and that should, excuse me, end the bear market or the bull market entirely at a faster rate, which also is arguable in my opinion. It could end, quite soon, relatively, a few months going forward. I think this could be the final run, really. It'll still give a good look for how this 5th wave is going to end. It also takes into account for the post triangle thrust measurement, which does align around the 5 to the 7, $8 to $10 region, depending on how far this 5th wave extends. But yeah, I think this is the end for XRP as well. I mean, to me, I'm already starting to look elsewhere for different coins for accumulation. I'm banking hard on this coin though. I mean, you guys know this. I've been accumulating this for 7 years. Absolutely insane. I mean, even on my Korean account, I'm accumulating. I mean, I've accumulated a lot, and it's crazy. It's paying off in just 2 months from the past 7 to 8 years that I've been accumulating XRP. But I'm telling you, there's other opportunities for the next cycle. As if you're patient, I'm telling you, use this time for this possible next bear market as a time to hustle, work hard, make as much money as you can from other means, and then build your cryptocurrency portfolio that way. Because I'm telling you right now, if you're day trading, this is something I do not recommend at all. Most of you won't make it. I'm telling you right now. Anyways, about how this 5th wave will end, again, this is how it will end one way. And the other one way is going to be this here, which makes a little bit more sense to me, which is why I know you guys are going to hate it and say that it's going to be impossible to go to $30 or $30 or $20, but if this is just the beginning of a wave one, and I'm being fair here, I'm even taking into consideration for a bear market for XRP in the shorter time frame. If this is a 5-wave move to the upside and this is just leading us into a wave one, we're going to get a significant pullback for wave two. That's going to lead us back down to the $1, $20, $30 range. And that is just going to be the beginning of what could be a larger move to the upside. This is kind of my preferred count. I'm already positioned so well before. It doesn't even matter which count happens because in my opinion, I still have the leeway to take the possibility of, profits in a trailing profit, right? So the reason why I'm seeing this, like I said, is because, again, we already had such an extended wave 3 of this degree here. Seeing it extend again for this wave 5, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, even from a theoretical approach, having wave 3 and wave 5 extend is just not so, it's not common enough to happen in the markets. It's not observed enough, but it is a possibility. But then again, to be more rational and just say that we're going to have a pretty symmetrical 5-wave impulse to the upside where wave 5 is already equaling pretty much the length of wave 1, we should be getting a rejection quite soon around the 4, maybe to the $5 range. We'll get that pullback. This should be a pretty significant pullback in itself, around 60-70%. And then we'll get that wave 2. And then if we find distribution within these levels over here, this will be far more profitable than this entire move that we witnessed here for the past year. Okay? That's how I see it. But if not, no worries, because we can end this. And I'm sure a lot of you will actually appreciate that this is the count that you would want to be seeing, right? Because you are already, most of you are probably positioned over here. You probably got in late, so you'd rather just see the higher levels first and have XRP completely end. And that's absolutely fine, right? So it just really depends on where you're positioned. If you're a market observer based on because you're positioned already over here, then you're going to probably want, and you're not going to be too scared of a possible larger 60-70% pullback. But either way, from a risk management perspective, both of these scenarios are going to call for a larger pullback, which is why we need to take risk management very seriously and take profits around these levels. Oh, so hopefully that was helpful. What chart do you use? And log chart or linear chart? Always use log chart. I know there's an argument for using linear chart, but log chart works best on crypto. 1 week time frame, put a WXY on wave 3, Y3, leave isn't only impulsive, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you're probably talking about the diagonal. It's because it's part of a diagonal. You shared your DXY primary macro analysis mentioning that BTC and DXY might top at the same time, but shouldn't these have inverse relationship? How can the NASDAQ and BTC and DXY all top at the same time? Wrong. You're absolutely wrong. BTC and the DXY decorrelates at certain times, but at major events and major pivotal levels is when they start to come back into play. So as you can see here, if we're expecting a larger pullback, don't expect the majority of the dollar, going to the downside to be Bitcoin going up forever. That's not how it works, all right? Expect at least 30 to 50% of the initial move to correlate with the markets. That includes stock markets and crypto markets in terms of risk on, right? This move here, as you can see, this entire move wasn't correlated with the markets. It was actually inversely correlated. This is why we're seeing the inverse correlation. So right now, if we're expecting a major pivot to happen on the dollar, the US dollar, we're also we already did witness, in my opinion, that major pivot of that wave 4, and we're already working for the wave 5. This should, in theory, work with each other in terms of the initial move. So whether this wave 1 is going to be that final 5th wave, that's something yet to be determined. I think we can start decorrelating on that wave 2 bounce because it's not going to turn into a perfect wave 2. It's going to be a larger accumulation pattern, in my opinion. And if that happens, then that's when you'll start to see the decorrelation happen for Bitcoin. And that's when, in my opinion, as DXY is continuing to rise on that wave 2, could be possibly the end of the bull market, in my opinion. What do you think about CRV after Ethereum? And Ethereum only have to do fake all-time high with expanding flat and then to start real altcoin season. I don't know what that means, but yes, it should be going up to the upside. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Do I consider miners like altcoins like Riot? No. Look at Riot. I mean, Riot plummeted, 99.99%. It's just recently that they just came into the game and we saw the first impulse happening and they got a massive sharp pullback. And that is a clear example of how Riot doesn't correlate well with Bitcoin's price action. And that's why I don't like using the miner's perspective of how we should be looking at the markets. It's a flawed argument, in my opinion. And they're saying a lot of people that, $90,000 or $100,000 is a break-even point for Bitcoin miners. I think that's a complete flawed approach, in my opinion. Of course, Bitcoin miners want a cheap Bitcoin. They want a higher Bitcoin to sell it off. I mean, they'll eventually miss out on, possibly getting some profits in right now. But in my opinion, they want a cheaper Bitcoin. That's how it is. Now in a shorter time frame can be a 1-2 finish now, yes. Where should we expect the second wave within the larger fifth wave? Could be happening already now, late man. Yusuf, like I said, the 1-2 could already be in, and this could be a violent move to the upside. You don't know. But eventually, I'm going to look for a 1-2 pullback. I'm going to save that for Discord. Also, if you guys are interested in joining the Patreon membership, please don't hesitate to join. The link is in the description below. I offer a Patreon. I offer 2 more updates every single week on Wednesdays and Fridays, depending on which tier you're in. And also we offer the Discord membership. There's a way to get more information on my side as a service. But as a free approach to these live streams, the weekly public updates, those are enough, in my opinion, to get a clear understanding of the general markets. Do I consider Link to be one of those altcoins that you would recommend? I think Link falls into the second tier category. It's in a different phase of a 1-2. It's not an accumulative 1-2. It's rather, it just went for a bear market quicker, and then we found a clear 5-wave impulse to the upside and then a 1-2 pullback, which is why it falls into a tier 2 category. I'm a huge conservative in real life and also when it comes to picking the right coins. And when I look for the conservative approach for finding coins, I always look for accumulation. 5 to 6 years, 2 to 3 years at the very minimum, 5 to 7 years of accumulation. And if I can apply the wave theory on top of that, then I know for a fact that every single person who hates it is going to be a treasure for me. What's your opinion as to why Ethereum continues to lose value on BTC? Longest bear market for Ethereum versus BTC today, losing value again once BTC dominance. Because Bitcoin's going up. The reason why Ethereum is losing value is because Bitcoin is going up. It should be a reversal, in theory, if we're going to see the dominance decrease. It's just how it is. 혹시 멤버십 가입하면 강의도 하나요? Yes, we do. 똑같이 이렇게 라이브 스트림처럼 하는 거예요. 네, 맞아요. 이게 맞아요. So what about Rune? The XRP chart where we would only be in wave 1 is one of the best scenarios. Do you think XLM Stellar would be the same dynamic? XLM is going to follow XRP no matter what, in my opinion. I think XLM and XRP are intertwined with each other. XLM, in fact, already did a bigger run than XRP in its initial move. 아닙니다. Yes, I can speak Korean, I can speak Chinese, and I can speak a little bit of Spanish, but my English, as you guys all know, I practice it a lot. I mean, I lived in the States for a little bit as well. And that's why I'm a conservative, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone has to work for it. Everyone has to work for it. No, I'm in Korea right now. You love Squid Game? Man, I hated season 2, man. Sucked. Too woke in my opinion. Oh, I should be careful what I say on the live stream, huh? Cause yeah, you guys know why. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any other questions related to Bitcoin, that is? This is the most people we had in a live stream. That's pretty insane. Guys, how many subscribers do I have? Oh my god, we are so close to 10,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. Hodu, dude. Sato, isn't that guy's crazy, man? No, I got in contact with them as well. They wanted me to do some live streams as Elliotticians to help them, but I refused. I know what's his name? Japku, I think Japku, right? Japku also, he refers to my Elliott wave analysis. Kind of funny. But you know them, they're degenerates. They don't give a shit about the markets. 스텔라 루멘 똑같아요. 그냥 리플이랑 똑같아요. 그냥 그렇게 보면 됩니다. 똑같아요. 그래서 차트 볼 필요가 없어요. Neo, no, I don't. Guys, stop asking for requests. A woke pronoun. I'm telling you, man. Squid Game 2 was just pure wokeness, in my opinion. And I'm Korean, too. Yeah, them losing is their content for sure. I don't know where they get all that money. I don't know, man. Some of it, I feel like it's fake money, but you know, they got a lot of referrals, so they make a lot of money, and they're not bad people. I've met Sato once. Dell, we already went over Ethereum, so yeah, you can do it. I studied English a lot, like a lot. You guys know the show Friends and Full House? You guys know Uncle Jesse? Come on, tell me who knows Full House? Seriously, like I grew up on that show. And Friends, man, I grew up on that show too. And then you guys are going to be pretty surprised, but all my friends in the States, they're all black. People, and you think I'm racist? As a conservative? Come on, man. All my friends are black. Like I learned all the hood terms, man. Like I'm from the hood, brother. You know what I'm talking about? Like I can talk like a hood guy, man, if you want me to, but you know, all my friends are black, either black, Mexican, or white. Oh, yeah, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yes, Will Smith. Carlton, man. he was like my idol because he's the type of dude that I wanted to be, you know? I don't know if you guys know Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but yeah, Carlton was my idol. Okay, you know Full House as well, and you're Polish. Yeah, I mean, you got it, dude. You got it, dude. Carlton dance, yeah. Fresh Prince, man, dude. I think I saw that every episode, maybe twice, 3 times actually. I think I've seen every episode of Fresh Prince, every episode of Full House, every episode of Friends as well. You're black and you watch Full House? Like, that has... what does that have to do with anything? Does my tax system work for the crypto market in your country? Yes, absolutely. It does work. And pay your taxes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now. Pay your taxes. Okay? That's financial advice. Do it early. How long have I been studying Elliott waves? You are the greatest Elliott waves I've ever seen. I've only been studying this theory for a year, and of course, it's a great theory. Yeah, I've been studying it for quite a bit, man. Since 2015, 2016. But I got really serious into it around 2018. 이찬혁 did a Carlton dance too? I'm gonna have to watch that, man. I didn't see that. Tax is free right now in Korea. Yes. Capital gains, 100% capital free. You don't pay taxes here in Korea for another 2 years. But there is news that the Democrats, the mother effing Democrats, are trying to put back the taxation system again. Even though they agreed upon delaying it for another 2 years, this country is a mess right now, in my opinion. It's really effed up right now. And they want to have the taxation back into Korea. It's kind of stupid, in my opinion. You're welcome, Yusuf. I update quite often on my Discord. Yes, I use RSI, and I use it basically on every wave 3 and 5. And wave C's of flats is where I have observed the most exhaustion of trends. So that's why I like expanded flats using RSI as well on the C waves of the 3-5s as well. 30%. Oh, dang, brother. That's crazy. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, right now, crazy as shiznips, man. A lot of people are asking me, could this be a triangle? Like this. I don't think so. I don't think so. But now that I am looking at it, it is such a rare pattern of all the triangles that, you know what? I don't think, you know, I don't want to change my bias, but I don't think that's the case. I feel like it's best to say that this was a higher level of a termination point, and then this is a 3-wave structure as a WXY. I just don't see it. This is so impulsive off the lows, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a lot of room for some kind of pullback to happen before we can assess what's going to be happening. If a pullback happens now, I really don't care at this point. But I've talked about it. I think that the wave 1, 2 could be ended here. Because we do have a clear 5 wave as the first initial wave 1, and then this is a 3-way pullback for wave 2. It's not the best looking. It didn't even, I think it only hit the 23.6%. Didn't even hit the 38.2%. So yeah, there's a lot of trade-offs. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. At least we caught the overall trend to the upside, right? We caught the overall trend to the downside. No one believed me over here. No one believed me over here. So why change the narrative? When people don't believe you the most is when you should possibly believe in yourself the most, right? The boy who cried wolf. You know, I mean, this literally that. No one wanted to believe me that this is going to be a bullish reversal trend eventually to happen. And look what we got. We got a freaking huge, we broke above this trend line here in just a matter of days. Am I leaving X anytime soon? I'm possibly going to retire just from all the bullshit that I'm reading from the comments. I think it's changing me. It's changing me as a person. It's pretty toxic, man. It's poisonous, dude. And now that my YouTube is building up, I might just stick with YouTube. But then YouTube has its own problems too. There's too many bots. But yeah, I don't know, man. I might be leaving X. I might just completely retire this season for crypto, you know. I don't know. Just stick with YouTube and also stick with my Discord membership. I might not even open up any more memberships. I'm in my 30s. But yeah, this is the end. So hopefully that was helpful, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna end the live stream here. I think we pretty much went over everything, right? So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next live stream. If you guys haven't already, let's hit it. We only need like 30-40 more subscribers to hit 10,000. Thank you so much. If we do hit 10,000, I'll probably do another weekend update. So please subscribe. I'll make sure to do a another live stream or another Bitcoin update or something, man. I don't know. 10,000 subscribers is a lot. I didn't even dream of hitting that. So please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video or the next update, and stay tuned. If you're not following me on X, please follow me on X at XFirstGlobal. And I try to keep everything as neutral as possible. And please try to keep the toxicity low. Don't fight with other people on here. It's kind of stupid, man. I don't know. And people ask the stupidest questions on here too. Like literally, I put an arrow on the chart, and people are asking me which way it's going. Please don't do that. Thank you very much. I'm gonna go watch some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air before I go to sleep, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay? Thank you. Bye bye. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, here I come. Will Smith.